Hey guys, come on in. It's Get You Moving Monday and it's time to get you moving. Get you moving Monday!
I'm Ryan Kuhlman of the Broward and the MiamiDade Real Estate Investors Associations, also known as the BREIA MC, coming to you from the BREIA and MiamiDadeREIA headquarters.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Get You Moving Monday. Now I hope everybody had a good weekend and had a chance to make some cold calls, because I'm guessing that the weekend before was Memorial Day weekend and most of you didn't make any cold calls. Probably didn't do a whole lot of anything because we used an excuse to say Memorial Day, which was only on that one Monday, which thank you again to all of the men and women who have served our country. We really greatly appreciate your service, but it was only one day. But we made this whole fictitious weekend, a Memorial Day weekend. People are like, oh, I'm gonna go to the Keys, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go there. Guys, it's only one day, so you had Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you hadn't made any phone calls or done any cold calls, now is your chance, because today you're gonna see part 3 of making cold calls, and this is all about the follow-up on the cold call. Let me explain. With my friend the whiteboard, of course. Okay, so the end of our cold call is the time that we want to try to get a result. That's what I'm calling the close. Now, in sales, if you're just doing telephone sales or you're a telemarketer, across the United States, the close is getting somebody to sign up for that $99 a month service or whatever crap that you're selling people over the phone. In real estate, it's a little bit different. Okay, I'm calling the close. Of course, I would love to have an opportunity to make a cold call to a for sale by owner, actually give him some lowball price, because he won't let me come take pictures of it, and he says, okay, fine, I'll take it, put the contract together. Of course, again, remember, the first thing that you always say to yourself when they do accept your first initial offer is, oh, I should have offered less. But if they accept my offer, that's great, okay? Then that's actually really an official close of getting them to sign the contract at that price. But we're not really expecting that necessarily from cold calls. Doesn't mean you can't have that positive perception going into your cold call, but the close to me is getting a result, okay? So the intention of making that cold call, truly, I think the best intention should be is to go to the property, meet with the seller, and take pictures of the property to assess the value. What that allows you to do is now you're meeting the seller face to face, and you have more time and opportunity to gain a rapport with the seller. Okay, so the close that we're looking for, we want to get a result. Now there might be different results that we're going to get. One way or the other, we want to close this conversation to be able to continue this into the next conversation, whether it's going to be on the phone or whether they're going to be face to face at the property. So the first result is to meet at the property for pictures. And like I said, that does a couple different things. Number one, it's going to truly help you assess the property value, okay? That's the one thing. The second thing is you're going to gain more of a rapport with the seller. Now there's also something else that you can, that's an advantage to you going to the property. Assessing the property value by looking at pictures and seeing the condition of the property is not just about what price am I going to pay for the property. It's also about finding more motivations. Let's say you go to the property and you actually see that there was a sticker on the door from the city and there was some type of lien or violation or something that was going on. Okay? That would give you possibly some more motivation for the seller to give you a good price on the property, to sell the property for cash. So you can look for more ways of sort of motivating the seller and finding more things going on with the property to sort of structure the deal and finding out what are those pressure points that you need to hit within their motivation to get them to sell the property. Okay, so those are all the things that you can do when you're going to meet at the property to get more pics. Truly assess the property, get more of a rapport with them, and hopefully find more motivation. Now, let's say that you're not able to meet at the property and you've got one of those really stubborn for sale by owners that just wants an offer over the phone. So the other result that we're going to try to get is I'm going to call you back in an hour to give you my best market offer, fair market value offer for your property. Just give me about an hour or so, and that's when you're going to obviously be looking at the comparables, you're going to be, you've asked them about the condition of the property, so you want to try to assess what the repairs of the property that are needed as fairly as possible. And that's when you're going to be calling them back in an hour. Now that's still not as good a result as them saying, yeah, I'll meet you at the property tomorrow, because that's motivation, right? Memorial Day weekend, I had one of my students that we were actually the week before Memorial Day, we met with a homeowner and found out that he has 2 rental properties. And so we wanted to go and assess those rental properties. And he's very motivated to sell, so he actually took the time through Memorial Day weekend to get us access to the properties so that my student could get in there, take pictures of the property, and we could assess the value on the 2 rental properties as we're looking at his pre-foreclosure single-family home. So that tells you, how much motivation that the seller has as they're trying to work with you. They're trying to get you access to the property. That means that they're truly motivated. But if you have that seller that's going to be a little bit stubborn, doesn't want to take the time, he doesn't want to waste his time, and you don't want to waste yours really, I'll call you back in an hour to give you an assessment of the property, okay? Now, there are still a few things that you can think about in calling them back in an hour for those assessments. Once you give them your price, you'll let them know that you're not going to be able to give them as much of a fair market value for the property unless you actually see the property itself. My offer may not be my best offer that I can give to you. Again, I have to protect myself. You're telling me this is the condition of the property, but I'm going to go ahead and have to assume certain things, and unless I actually see it with my own eyes to see the true condition, I'm going to think worst case scenario. So I might not be able to give you my best offer. So when you call back in an hour, giving them your offer, and maybe it's a low offer, and they're like, oh no, there's no way I would take that for my property, that's way too low. Then you can come back to, well, how about give me an opportunity to come by the property and take pictures? Because remember, by calling them back in an hour, now you're having the second phone call with them, okay? Psychologically wise, this is all more rapport that you're getting with that seller, because now you're having that second conversation with them, okay? And in the second conversation, when you call them back in an hour, when you give them your offer, it may not be your best offer. Again, that gives you another opportunity to have more of a conversation, to get more clues as to what their true motivation is and what's really going to motivate them to sell you the property and to come down on the price a little bit. So as an example, one of the things that you definitely want to do within getting a result is also finding out other ways to structure the deal. If you're not going to meet at the property, if your offer is too low, then obviously you want to ask them, do they have any other properties for sale? That's another way for you to think about it, because like I just said, we went to a single family home pre-foreclosure, spoke with the seller. He allowed us to come to the property to take pictures of his property and everything else. And that was the second time that the student had been to the property. Then when we talked to him about his rental properties, that's when he said, well, I'm not really necessarily motivated to move out of this house, but he's facing a foreclosure, so he knows he's going to have to move out anyways. The reality is that by talking to him about the other 2 rental properties, and by going back the second time and having more of a conversation, even if it's just calling somebody back in an hour to give them your price of what you would pay for the property, we were able to find out that he's actually willing to do a package deal on the other rental properties, to give him enough cash to pay off what he needs to pay off on his single family home that he lives in, that he's facing a foreclosure. So now his motivations changed a little bit. Now we found out by going over to his house, meeting with him and his wife, them saying that, we've lived here for 29 years, we really don't want to leave this house. And you could see, I made sure we had a 15-minute conversation about all of the pictures of the kids and everything that he had around, playing with his dog, in the living room. And you could tell they really didn't want to leave that house. So now, instead of thinking, well, we're probably not going to necessarily get a great deal on his primary residence that he's living in, but now we have an opportunity on these other 2 rental homes because he really wants to keep that property. So maybe we make more on the 2 rental homes than we would have made on wholesale flipping on the residential property, okay? You won't know those things unless you create more opportunities for conversation. So you want to create the opportunity. That's really what getting a result is all about. That's really what the cold call is all about. You want to try to create the opportunity. At the end of the day, if your end conversation is, no, that price doesn't work for me at all, again, you're going to try to get a result. I'll call you in a week to see if I can get a better price for the property. Maybe you tell them, look, I'll tell you what, I'll take it upon myself. I'll go and drive past the property this week. I'll just take some quick pictures on the outside, because a lot of times, if you're making cold calls, we're not necessarily, we're probably going to be talking mostly to regular wholesale deals, tired of being a landlord, non-owner occupied. So, you know, by saying I'll call you in a week, see if I can get a better price, I'll go buy the property if they've got a renter in there, and that might be one of the reasons why they don't want you to go inside the property, because they don't want their renter to know they're selling the property. So you could say, I'm just going to go buy, you know, I won't bother, you know, the tenants or anything. I'll take pictures on the outside of the property. I'll crunch the numbers, you know, a little bit. I'll really kind of look at it and just see. You know, I'll just touch base with you and just, you know, maybe in about a week or so, okay? That way you're kind of acting like, yeah, you're right, you know, your price is too high. It just doesn't make sense for either of us, you know, but obviously in your mind, your intention is to get a result, okay? You want to have another opportunity to talk to that homeowner. So you'll call them back in a week, and that's the follow-up of your cold call. So follow-up is part of cold calling as well. It's kind of like when you think about follow-through. When I was learning golf, or at least attempted to try to learn golf from my dad, you know, he always talked about, which I've you know, talked about this in baseball and in tennis, any time of things that you're swinging, you know, a baseball bat or a golf club, it's always about the follow-through, right? You're following through. Your intention, you know, especially in baseball, you know, you want to hit that ball out of the park. So your intention is not to just stop right here. Your intention is to follow all the way through and really set that ball. So the reality is the same thing in your cold calls. Your follow-up is your intention that no matter what happens on that call, if that seller shuts you down and says, no, I don't even want you to call me back in an hour, I want you to give me a price right now, okay? Then your intention is to still be able to follow up, because that's a result. So you always want to make sure you have an opportunity to try to follow up on your cold call. And the most perfect excuse, obviously, is let me see if I can get you a better price. Or maybe you don't even tell them that. Maybe you don't even get the opportunity to tell them, maybe I've got a better price or something. So then you can always use the old trick, I found someone to partner with, or I found someone to sell the property to, okay? You can go into every conversation letting them know, I'm an investor that has multiple exit strategies. And this is something that you can use on your intro. I tell sellers all the time, the advantage to working with me is because I have multiple ways that I can structure the purchase and sale of your property. I can purchase it myself, I can fix it up a little bit, hold on to it, and I can rent it out. I could purchase the property and I could rehab it and I could sell it full retail. I could purchase your property and I could partner with someone else, and we're going to get it rental ready for Section 8 or whatever they specialize in, you know, whatever you tell the seller, and then we're going to actually do a lease option later on to sell the property. Or I'm just going to take the property and I have a couple of hedge funds that I deal with, and I'm going to sell the property to them. So, you know, Mr. Seller, I'm going to facilitate the sale of your property for you by selling it to someone else. Don't be afraid to go into a conversation with someone and tell them about the multiple exit strategies that you have. Now, yes, some sellers out there are very savvy. They'll be like, are you one of these wholesalers that doesn't have any money and you're just trying to assign this contract? No. I actually have the ability to close on a property, and this is what we do. We just have multiple strategies. It won't make any difference to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, because you're still going to get the price that you want. Whatever we negotiate and whatever we agree on, that's the price that you're going to get for the property. So coming back to them and saying, okay, now I have an opportunity here. However you create the opportunity for you to call them back, follow up with them, and let them know, I came up with a solution. I've got another idea of how we can make this deal work, okay? Or let's say it's a retail property, and let's say that you wanted to just purchase the property outright, cash, and you were thinking about doing a rehab yourself. And then you came to a price and you said, well, I have someone to partner with me, and he says that we can pay a little bit more for the property because he's already got, you know, flooring and stuff left over from another job that we can use in this property. Whatever the story is, doesn't matter. The reality is that when you're working with them and you're telling them, okay, well, I can come up with a little bit better price for you. And let's say that that price doesn't necessarily, you know, work for them either. Then you could talk to them about other solutions and thinking outside the box. Let's say you find out that they own the property free and clear within your conversation. Remember, you want to ask them these questions because you're gathering data, and all of that information and data that you're gathering is going to help you figure out different ways to structure this deal so that you can figure out which one is going to work for that seller. And sometimes on cold calls, what you can think about is telling people, I've got a couple different offers for you. Okay, a very good friend of mine and a national speaker, national educator, and national investor, Chris Goff, who's been to our club many times over the years, he actually gives everybody 2 or 3 offers. He says, okay, here's my regular cash offer, here's my offer, you know, for seller financing, or here's my lease option offer. And you can come up with different ways to try to make those offers. So in your cold call, with your follow-up, you're going to call them and say, you know what, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, didn't you say that you own the property free and clear? Because I did a little bit of research and I see that you know, there's no longer a mortgage or lien on the property. So how about we do this? I actually worked out some numbers where you could do seller financing and act as the bank. I'll bring my money in and fix the property up. Your best case scenario is that I get hit by a bus and you just get to take the property with all of the improvements on it. But you're also, another good case scenario for you is that I do the rehab on the property, we partner together, we sell the property, and I pay you, you know, percentage on the note that you're going to be carrying for me for the seller financing. So you're going to get payments each month while I'm working on this rehab. And when we sell the rehab, I'll give you an additional 10% of the profits. Now, obviously, you want to work out all of these numbers beforehand, but if those numbers work out, and now you're telling the seller and saying, okay, you're going to get an additional, you know, amount here, even if it's a few $1,000s, you never know. Okay, and again, with the follow-up, being persistent, right? You might actually get to the point where the seller says, okay, fine, I'm tired of you calling me and asking me to structure this deal a different way. Let's just do it. Okay, I'm good. Bring over the contract and let's get it signed. You never know what's going to happen. The answer is always the same if you don't ask. It's always no. So the follow-up is very, very important. It gives you more opportunities to gain a rapport with your seller. So when you're cold calling, just make sure that you have, your intentions are getting some type of result. And a good result can still be hearing a no now, but you never know what's going to be more motivative. Remember, as time goes by, people's motivations change. Things could happen to the property. We've had situations where people all of a sudden, they've got a tax bill that just came in that they have to absolutely pay. So you never know where the motivation is going to come from. And of having a little bit more time in there, it gives you a little bit more opportunity to create a rapport with the seller. And now you know what time it is. Announcements. So once again, it's the first of the month, and June is a very important month because June 1st is my big sister Christy's birthday. We had a surprise 50th birthday for her on last Friday, and you know, I found the Arc Band. It's a reggae band out of Columbus, Ohio that we used to listen to when we were in college, and these guys were still around. So it was a great surprise birthday party. Happy birthday, sis. Anyways, also what's very important in June is at the beginning of the month, of course, the MiamiDadeREIA and BREIA meetings. So tomorrow, Tuesday, June the 5th, is the MiamiDadeREIA meeting at the Miami Pullman Hotel. Doors open at 6 o'clock. One of our favorite guys in the notes, I guess we'll say the note market, is Joe Varnador from Note School. He's going to be teaching you how to buy and sell non-performing and performing notes. And they do this all over the country. Note School is perhaps one of the largest institutions for not only teaching but also investing in performing and non-performing notes. Now, Joe's also going to be at the BREIA meeting the next night on Wednesday, June the 6th at the Signature Grand. Doors open at 5:30, and he's going to be teaching again how to purchase and sell performing and non-performing notes. Now, Joe's going to be following this up, and he's going to be doing a special seminar right here at our offices on the following Saturday, so you don't want to miss that event as well. If you really want to learn about learning how to buy and sell non-performing and performing notes, Joe Varnador from Note School, he's the guy to get it done. All right, boys and girls, well, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today's episode. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for Get You Moving Monday. Now, remember, the Broward Real Estate Investors Association, our YouTube channel, has all of these episodes, and I believe that we are up to episode 119. Wow, 119 episodes. We've been doing this a long time. I want to give a special shout out to my man, Marcelo Pimentel. He's been our videographer for many years, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been able to get this Get You Moving Monday going. So I really appreciate all the hard work that he's put in on Get You Moving Mondays. So to see his hard work and my hard work as well, jump up on our YouTube channel. There you go. He got a thumbs up from Marcelo from behind the camera. Jump up on our YouTube channel and check out these episodes. Guys, it's a whole library of free information for you. Also, give us a like on our Facebook pages for BREIA and for MiamiDadeREIA. Gotten another thumbs up there. Of course, you can go to our websites, BREIA.com or MiamiDadeREIA.org for all and any upcoming events. Register early because our events fill up very quickly. So I hope to see you guys at the meetings this week. And remember, every day is a new opportunity for your success.